Hello and welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy this story. I'm going to try and upload a new story each day. The Phantom Phonograph. Holly Arnold's antique shop, nestled in the quiet, picturesque town of Ryde on the Isle of Wight, was a treasure trove of forgotten relics and hidden histories. Her latest acquisition, a beautifully ornate phonograph, had arrived at her doorstep in a dusty, weathered crate, accompanied by an unsigned note that simply read, "For the collector of the rarest echoes." Intrigued by the cryptic message and the phonograph's exquisite craftsmanship, Holly decided to display it in the center of her shop. Its mahogany body gleamed under the soft lighting, and the intricate brass horn promised a richness of sound that modern devices could never replicate. Yet there was something peculiar about it that Holly couldn't quite place. It seemed almost alive. Late one evening, long after closing, Holly felt an inexplicable urge to play the phonograph. She had found a stack of old records inside the crate, each labeled with dates and names she didn't recognize. She selected a record from the early 1900s, gently placed it on the turntable, and set the needle down. The room filled with the crackling sound of static before a voice, thin and ethereal, began to speak. "I am Harriet Wade. This is my story." Holly shivered as the voice, though faint, carried a sorrow that was palpable. Harriet spoke of love and loss, of betrayal and revenge. It was a tragic tale that seemed too personal, too real, to be a mere recording. Night after night, Holly found herself drawn to the phonograph. Each record told a different story, each voice more haunting than the last. There was Samuel, who had been falsely accused of a crime and executed, leaving his lover to languish in despair. There was Alina, who had been driven to madness by unrelenting grief. And then there was Thomas, whose voice was filled with rage and a promise of retribution. As the days turned into weeks, Holly began to notice changes in herself. She became more reclusive, her thoughts increasingly consumed by the voices from the records. She stopped answering phone calls, stopped visiting friends, and her shop fell into disarray. It was as if the phonograph was slowly drawing the life out of her. One night, as she played yet another record, the voice of Thomas spoke directly to her. "Holly Arnold, you have listened well. Now it is time for you to know the truth." The room grew colder, the shadows deeper, and Holly felt a presence behind her. She turned, heart-pounding, but saw nothing. The next morning, she awoke to find a new record on the turntable. It was unlabeled, and she had no recollection of placing it there. With trembling hands, she set the needle down. A familiar voice emerged from the static. "This is Holly Arnold. My story begins with a phonograph." Her blood ran cold. The voice continued, recounting her own experiences, her own descent into obsession. It spoke of the spirits trapped within the phonograph, bound by deceit and betrayal, seeking to ensnare another soul to continue their cycle of torment. Desperate for answers, Holly began to research the history of the phonograph. She discovered that it had once belonged to a wealthy family on the Isle of Wight, the Wades. Harriet Wade had been the family's matriarch, and her tragic story matched the first recording she had heard. Each of the voices on the records belonged to a member of the Wade family, all of whom had met untimely and mysterious ends. Determined to break the cycle, Holly sought out the last living descendant of the Wade family, an elderly woman named Margaret. Margaret was reluctant to speak of her family's dark past, but eventually she revealed the truth. The phonograph had been cursed by Harriet Wade herself, a vengeful spirit unable to find peace. Harriet's curse was fueled by the betrayal and deceit that had torn her family apart, and it would only be lifted if someone could bring their spirits to rest. With Margaret's help, Holly performed a ritual to release the spirits. She played each record one last time, addressing the souls directly, urging them to let go of their pain and find peace. The air grew thick with an otherworldly presence, and Holly felt as if she were standing at the threshold between the living and the dead. As the final record played, the shop was engulfed in a blinding light. When it faded, the phonograph lay silent. The oppressive atmosphere that had plagued Holly lifted, replaced by a sense of calm she hadn't felt in months. Holly knew the curse had been broken. The phonograph was now just an antique, its haunted past laid to rest. She carefully packed it away, determined never to sell it, but to keep it as a reminder of the ordeal she had survived. Though the spirits were gone, the experience left an indelible mark on Holly. She reopened her shop, but with a new awareness of the power and history behind each artifact she acquired. And late at night, when the wind howled and the shadows seemed to dance, she sometimes thought she heard the faintest echo of a voice, a whisper from beyond the grave, thanking her for setting them free. The weeks following the release of the spirits were uneventful, and Holly slowly returned to her routine. She reconnected with friends and family, and her antique shop regained its former charm, drawing in locals and tourists alike. However, the memory of the haunted phonograph lingered in the back of her mind, a constant reminder of the thin veil between the living and the dead. One evening, as she was closing up the shop, Holly noticed a young man lingering by the display window. His eyes were fixed on the spot where the phonograph had once stood. Curiosity piqued, she approached him. "Can I help you?" Holly asked, her voice tinged with caution. The young man turned to face her, his expression a mix of anxiety and determination. "I'm sorry to bother you. My name is James Wade. I've heard about what happened here and, well, I'm the last of the Wades. I need to know the truth." Holly's heart skipped a beat. Another Wade. The family's connection to the phonograph had seemed severed, but here stood another link to the past. She invited James inside, offering him a cup of tea as they settled into the cozy back room of the shop. James explained that he had only recently discovered his connection to the Wade family. Adopted at a young age, he had grown up unaware of his heritage until a chance encounter with an old family document revealed the truth. Intrigued and unsettled by the stories of hauntings and curses, he had come to Holly seeking answers. Holly recounted her experience with the phonograph and the spirits, sharing the details of the curse and the ritual that had finally brought peace to the restless souls. James listened intently, his face growing paler with each passing word. "There's more," he said finally, pulling a small, worn journal from his bag. "This belonged to Harriet Wade. It was passed down through the family, but it seems to have skipped a few generations. I found it in a box of my biological mother's belongings." Holly took the journal, its leather cover cracked with age. She opened it carefully, revealing pages filled with elegant, meticulous handwriting. Harriet's voice emerged from the past, recounting her life and the events leading to the curse. As Holly and James read through the journal, they uncovered a series of entries that hinted at a deeper, darker secret within the Wade family, a secret that had never been revealed. One entry in particular caught Holly's attention. Harriet wrote about a hidden room in the Wade family mansion, a room where she had conducted seances and communed with spirits. It was in this room that the curse had been cast, binding her family's souls to the phonograph. "We need to find that room," Holly said, her voice firm. "It might hold the key to understanding everything," James agreed, and the two set off to the old Wade mansion, now abandoned and falling into ruin. The journey to the mansion was shrouded in a sense of foreboding, the sky darkening as storm clouds gathered overhead. As they approached the dilapidated building, Holly felt a chill run down her spine. The mansion seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, as if the very walls held a grudge against the living. Inside, the air was thick with dust and decay. Holly and James navigated through the darkened corridors, their footsteps echoing ominously. They followed the journal's descriptions, searching for the hidden room. After hours of searching, they finally found a concealed door behind a rotting tapestry. With a creak of ancient hinges, the door swung open, revealing a staircase descending into darkness. Armed with flashlights, they ventured down into the bowels of the mansion. The air grew colder with each step, and a sense of dread settled over them. At the bottom of the stairs, they found a room lined with shelves of old books and artifacts, dominated by a large, dust-covered table in the center. On the table lay an array of ritualistic objects, candles, crystals, and a tarnished mirror. The atmosphere was oppressive, as if the room itself was alive with the memories of countless rituals and invocations. Holly felt a strange compulsion to touch the mirror, its surface rippling like liquid under her fingers. Suddenly, the mirror glowed with an eerie light, and the room was filled with whispers. The voices of the Wade family, now freed from the phonograph, swirled around them, recounting their stories in a cacophony of sorrow and rage. Holly and James stood transfixed, the voices drawing them deeper into the past. Harriet's voice rose above the others, commanding their attention. You have freed us, but the curse lingers. The darkness that bound us is not vanquished. You must destroy the source. Holly realized that the mirror was the true heart of the curse. It had been used by Harriet to bind the spirits, and now it held the lingering essence of the dark magic. With determination, she raised the mirror and smashed it against the table, shattering it into countless shards. As the mirror broke, the oppressive energy in the room dissipated, replaced by a sense of calm and release. The voices faded, leaving Holly and James standing in the now silent room. They knew that the curse was finally broken, the spirits of the Way family truly at peace. Returning to the shop, Holly felt a profound sense of closure. She had not only unraveled the mystery of the haunted phonograph, but had also helped to heal the wounds of a family torn apart by betrayal and sorrow. The experience had changed her, deepening her understanding of the delicate balance between the past and the present. James, too, found a sense of belonging and purpose. He decided to stay on the Isle of Wight, working alongside Holly in the antique shop. Together, they continued to explore the histories of the artifacts they acquired, honoring the stories and spirits they encountered. The phonograph, now silent and unassuming, remained a centerpiece in the shop. It served as a reminder of the power of history, the resilience of the human spirit, and the importance of remembering and honoring the past. And sometimes, late at night, when the wind howled and the shadows seemed to dance, Holly would think she heard the faintest echo of a voice, a whisper from beyond the grave, thanking her for setting them free. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please don't forget to like, and even better, like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and I hope you have had or have a great day.